A big and important day is coming up for Americans. Did you know that many of you are able to claim a missing stimulus check? Officials have confirmed that rebate checks worth up to $2,500 will begin being sent out soon. Eligible Americans will receive this money via automatic deposit. Now, the government issued $930 billion in stimulus checks in 2020 and 2021 just to help Americans get through the crisis. But more than a year and a half later, the latest federal stimulus check payments started going out. Some people still have not received their cash. If you're one of the many who are owed stimulus money, you may be able to claim the amount as a recovery rebate on your 2020 or 2021 tax return. You qualify for the recovery credit if the IRS didn't get you a stimulus payment, or if you received a partial payment. To find out whether you missed out on money you're entitled to, you can contact the IRS, review the IRS online account, or use the tax agency's Get My Payment tool. These rounds of crisis stimulus checks were used in 2020 and 2021. The income requirements for the recovery rebate tax credit are the same as for the stimulus payments. So if a stimulus check missed you or you received a partial payment, you may be eligible for additional cash if you file a federal tax return and claim the credit. Because according to officials, folks, many people don't entirely grasp how stimulus payments affect their taxes. The stimulus payments were advanced tax credits because the IRS gave you money in advance of filing your tax return. The recovery rebate credit is considered a refundable credit, meaning it can reduce the amount of taxes you owe or generate a refund to you. If the IRS issued you a stimulus check, but it got lost, you should not file for the recovery rebate credit, but instead ask the tax agency to trace the payment. Additionally, you are also not eligible if you don't have a social security number. You can claim missing or a partial first and second round stimulus payment only on your 2020 federal tax return. Any missing or partial third round stimulus payment can be claimed on your tax return only. If you're behind on your returns, you have until September 30th to file your 2020 taxes penalty-free. Taxpayers who got extensions to file must submit those returns by October. It's essential to understand that a stimulus payment is not taxable. The IRS has issued guidance stating that you don't even need to include the amount of money in your adjusted gross income or pay taxes on the money you owe. Because according to some Department of Revenues, like in Montana, residents are set to receive taxable rebates worth up to $2,500 in July. The state expects to start issuing the payments on July 1st. The amount taxpayers will receive from this rebate will either be the amount a resident reported when filing or $1,200 for single filers, $2,500 for married couples.
What I think are really important issues. I have a great concern that we're heading as a globe spiraling into the greatest food insecurity our planet has ever seen, affecting more people than ever. And obviously, this is an issue for Côte d'Ivoire. And so I would like to know from you, what is the largest impact of the Russia's war in Ukraine on the agricultural sector in the country? And what are some thoughts of yours to help to deal with any food insecurity?
Folks, did you know that you may be eligible to receive up to $1,000 from your state and city? And many of you are wondering how you can claim such additional financial assistance. Well, roughly 7 months have passed since the final enhanced monthly child tax credit payment was dispersed to families in the US. Now, since the checks ended, the number of children in poverty has increased from 12% to 17%. It has put 3.7 million children below the poverty line. Millions of parents welcomed these payments in the latter half of 2021 as they help provide financial relief during the crisis. This year, with inflation on the rise and a possible recession looming, several states are now planning to send families more money to lessen the impact. There's a new Republican Senate proposal that would send up to $350 per child and includes a work requirement. For now, it's up to the states to decide if they'll provide money in families to families in need. And so far, there are several states planning to enact a state child tax credit on offering deductions for households with children. Only one of those states is pending governor approval. Families in California who earn less than $25,000 are eligible for this $1,000 check as either a reduced state tax bill or refund. Those earning between $25,000 and $30,000 would receive a refunded reduced credit. The credit is only available for children under age 6, and also the family must qualify for the California Income Credit. Starting in January 2023, families in Colorado will get 5% to 30% of the federal credit for each qualifying child. The credit is only available for children under age 6. There is a deadline today that is for Connecticut families to sign up for a state tax rebate, worth around $250 per child, but it appears certain that thousands of households will not claim their state checks, of as much as $750. According to the state, more than 11,000 tax filers applied for the credit in a 24-hour period. State officials estimate that more than 300,000 Connecticut households meet the income requirements for $200,000 for couples and $100,000 for single parents. And nearly 60,000 families in Florida will receive $450 per child. Idaho families could also be eligible to get $205 for each of their qualifying dependents with Idaho's non-refundable child tax credit. Maryland is providing $500 refundable tax credits for each qualifying child under a bill pending approval by the governor. New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy recently signed a $50 billion budget that would include a New Jersey child tax credit program. The fiscal year 2023 Appropriations Act makes use of a $7 billion budget surplus. And significantly, the budget also allocates funds of up to $500 per child under the age of 6. Families making under $30,000 will receive $500 per child. And now, folks, this tax credit is fully refundable. It means that you can receive the money even if you don't owe any New Jersey state taxes. That means even if you don't normally file taxes, you should be able to claim this fund.
Yes, ma'am. You want to look at it? I'm sure others would have comments, but let me point out that they say that we're reduced by $200 billion. Okay, our economy, that's about 0.8 to 1.2 of our nation's GDP every year. They're going to reduce that over 10 years. It is going to be less than a fraction of 0.04% of our 0.04%, roughly 0.08 of our nation's GDP. What's that?
If things go perfect.
If things go perfectly. Now, and then the debt and deficit, this will be a total rounding error. So if that's what they're using to justify, and if that's their strongest argument, it's a pretty weak, strong argument. I don't think they care, and I think they're only trying to get a fig leaf to justify billions of new spending.
This is an important question. The deficit saving estimate is down to $100 billion, I think over a 10-year period. See, the gimmicks in Build Back Better were exposed, and that's why they lost matching. The House claimed Build Back Better cost $1.7 trillion. I asked CBO, if you took all the gimmicks out, if you made the child tax credit for 10 years, not 2, which we know it would be.
Actually come to the conclusion, I hope, they generally don't know what they're doing. The best way to stop a drunk driver is to take the keys away before they get in the car.